Hey everyone, welcome back to Simply Scented Life. My name is Rachel and I brought a couple of my friends with me today. Any guesses what we're going to be talking about today in this video? Yep, we've got the Goose Creek Peanuts collaboration collection here to look at together today. We're going to be doing some cold sniff impressions and I am so excited because I have been waiting so long for a collaboration like this. My favorite company had talked about maybe doing a collab and it fell through and I was so disappointed. So to see Goose Creek be able to get it done, I was so excited. And of course, had to jump on the website and before you know it, I've added the entire collection to my cart and here we are. And it's funny because last week, if you follow me, I had just shared my very first Goose Creek video and it was my first time trying the 3 wicks and I had said, I want to go slow with these, see how these do before I really go all in with Goose Creek and lots of orders or anything like that. And what a liar I made out of myself, because as I'm still sitting here in this chair, just wrapping up filming that video, watching the recording back, I see a message come through from my friend Diana and she's sending me a Goose Creek post. And I'm like, well, that's ironic as I sit here with my, first Goose Creek haul. So I said, let's see what she sent me. And I look and it's that flyer for the Goose Creek Peanuts candle collaboration. And I said, well, shoot, I guess I'm going back in onto that website. And before you know it, I've got the whole thing in my cart because there was a few that I was kind of like, I don't know if these are going to be for me. But it was like, how do I leave a few behind? Like, how do you choose? It's like your kids. Like, how do you pick between your kids? So I just said, you know what? Throw them all in, we'll sort it out later. So here we are. I've got the whole collection. We'll go through Cold Sniff. I haven't had a whole lot of time with them. They just arrived last night and I really just didn't have a whole lot of time to do other than just like a quick sniff. So we'll kind of be going through them together today. And before we start, I will let you guys know this is like a sentimental topic for me. So this is a quick story time. So if you're not interested in that, I've got everything time stamped. Feel free to skip ahead to the candles, but quick story time here of why this is so special to me. Yes, I've always been a Snoopy fan. I've always kind of grown up with Snoopy, as many of you I think out there have. They've been around for what, 75 years? We're celebrating the anniversary here with this collection. But I always loved watching the specials on TV every holiday season, and there was just something different and special about watching it live on TV. Back when it used to be on regular TV, now I think it's on like Apple or something like that. And, it's just a different feeling now in this digital age where everything is on demand. But there was just something different about waiting every year, finding out when the special was going to be on and making sure you were there, and back before DVRs and all that, and just knowing like everyone was coming together at the same time, gathering around their TV together to watch this special. It was such a tradition for me. So I miss that. And then fast forward now to when I had my daughter, I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to have kids for a while. I was not really thinking that was going to be in the cards for a time of my life. And I was blessed with this beautiful little girl who at around 6 months old fell in love with Snoopy in a Kmart, another extinct thing, Kmart stores for those old enough to remember. But it was probably the closest thing to love at first sight that I will ever witness in my life. But we were in Kmart in the holiday aisle. They were setting up for the holidays and they had all those little like musical plush toys. And she found this one. And this is the only one she had any interest in. And it was, he's Snoopy with the little goggles on his face here. He's got the little scarf and he does play a song. I'm not going to play it because I don't know all the rules with like licensing and music and all that with YouTube. But he does a little sidesteppy dance and just really cute. But she latched onto this thing and I don't know how many times we played this thing in the store. And it was like one of those things where we figured, all right, she'll play with it for a while and then she'll be kind of over it. No, from that day forward, anytime we saw Snoopy anywhere, it was like she just lost her mind as a little baby, and it was just the cutest thing. And before we know it, now she was the only child, the only grandchild, and before you know it, my spoiled little girl had all the Snoopies. We've got dozens of Snoopy plushes that live with us here now, and she was just obsessed. She had her first birthday in a Snoopy theme. It was just all Snoopy, all Peanuts, all the time with her. So we used to walk around the neighborhood. She would be in her stroller and we were playing like the Peanuts album all times of the year. So here we are in July walking down the street with the Peanuts Christmas music going, and that was like the only thing that would soothe her sometimes. It was just such a special thing. And I didn't know it at the time what a special time in my life that was going to end up being. You know, we all go through seasons where sometimes things are great, and that was just one of those times where things were great. And unfortunately, that was followed by some darker times, some less pleasant times of my life. And so now when I see Snoopy and I look back, it just kind of brings me back to that place where everything was just good and perfect and special. And so that's why I have this sort of sentimental attachment. I figured I'd show you guys. This is one of my favorites that we have, this fluffy one here. He's just kind of like the old-fashioned Snoopy, very plushy. He's got this little tag here. It says happiness since 1950. I just love him. But this is one of my favorites. But, you know, just one of those things where when I saw this collection now combining something sentimental like Snoopy with candles that I love so much and are such a simple thing that bring joy into my life, like that is basically what the premise of my whole channel here, the whole concept, Simply Scented Life, is, you know, taking time to appreciate the simple things in your life that bring you joy. And, you know, it could be candles, it could be, you know, anything that brings you joy that's just kind of simplistic. And, you know, it could be different for everyone, but these are some of the things that, you know, when worlds collide here, we got Snoopy, we got candles, and it's just one of those little serendipitous things. So I had to have them all, and now I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts here with you guys today, just some cold sniffs, and you know, we'll walk through them one by one. It's kind of a multi-seasonal sort of collection here. We've got a little fall, we've got a little holiday, we've got one that's kind of like the oddball spring summer type, but I'm glad they released them all at once, because then I was able to just kind of go in all at once and buy them all. I didn't want to have to buy fall now and then in a few weeks go back and order Christmas. I'm glad I was able to get them all in one shot. I am a little surprised they didn't do like an Easter one here, because they're, you know, the Easter Beagle, that's a pretty popular Snoopy concept as well, but no Easter Beagle. But we do have a lot of fall and Christmas, so we'll go through all of these together, and I kind of separated them out. We'll start with the ones that are probably my least favorite, and then we'll kind of work our way up through the collection. So grab yourself a snack if you haven't already, and let's take a look at some Snoopy candles. We'll start with this one. This is Snoopy and the Gang, and I will show you close up better in a second, but we'll just talk about this for a second. This is like the one outlier scent-wise. This is like kind of like a spring summery type of scent, where pretty much all these others are fall and winter. So that's why I was kind of surprised they didn't do maybe like a spring, like Easter Beagle one, but who knows, maybe someday down the road. I know they've kind of revisited some collabs over the years, but yeah, this is kind of the one outlier, and this is one that I was like, I don't really feel like I need. The notes don't really speak to me, but you know, how do you say no? And something I'll point out, they all have this gold lid. So I won't show you the lid every time. It's all this gold lid. It says Goose Creek on the top. And then they all have this little kind of 75 years emblem on the top here. And then one thing I didn't realize on the website, and maybe I just missed it, but on the back, they all have this sort of happiness is 75 years of peanuts on the label, which I think is a really nice touch, just like a little commemorative thing, kind of like for collector's purposes. If you are a collector sometimes like myself, that's just kind of like a nice little touch. But here we've got Snoopy and the Gang, and I'll just show you the label a little bit better close up. I know there's a little glare there. And they all are kind of similar in that they have different colors, but then they all have this sort of background under that yellow with the sort of faint characters in the picture there. And then a different sort of gold overlay. So if you can see, like, there's like little clouds there. Like the fall ones I think have leaves, and then there's a different pattern for the winter ones. So fairly consistent packaging, which I like, but they all have like subtle little differences like that. I like the peanut background there, like with all the characters. I almost would have liked to see like something maybe a little bit comic strip like. That's getting like nitpicky, but I do like what they did. And they've got all the characters on the front. This one has scent notes of sugared lemonade, juicy orange, and daisy blooms. And I'm not like a big floral person. I do really like citrus, especially in the spring. So I thought, well, maybe I'll be okay with this, but I will tell you guys, I get a lot of the floral note on cold, and I've never really thought of daisies being like a very fragrant sort of flower, but there is definitely a floral piece that hits me first, followed by a sort of sweet citrus in the background with this one. This one's got yellow wax. They all have different color waxes. But like if you like those fruity floral types of scents, this is probably, I mean, this is pretty strong on cold. This would be a good one. Yeah, it's just a little more floral than I would like, but you never know. Like sometimes burning that will kind of mellow out a little bit and maybe some more of that citrus will shine through. I get more lemon than I do orange, but there's definitely a citrus component. And like the lemonade piece itself, I do actually kind of like. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. And again, this was one of those ones that I was like, I don't know if I need it, but I didn't want to leave it behind either. But that is Snoopy and the Gang. Next, another one that I loved this label. I didn't love the notes, and I figured the scent was probably not going to be for me, but I loved this label. This is Napping with Snoopy. And oh my gosh, just I love like Snoopy laying on his doghouse is like one of my favorite, like my favorite peanut things. And again, the 75 up there, this with the orange, and you can kind of see like this one has like those little gold leaves over the top of the characters on the label. Again, with this happiness is logo on the back, and you know, nice wraparound label. This one, orange wax. Similar wicks. I feel like most of these have similar wicks. I haven't checked them all, but the ones I remember seeing were pretty thick. And I'm sorry my light is kind of going out in and out a little bit here. It's kind of a cloudy day, and I think I'm going to have some trouble with the adjusting as I focus in on the candles versus coming back to the full screen. So hopefully this sorts itself out. But we've got Napping with Snoopy, and there's notes here of vanilla cashmere, warm amber, and soft cedarwood. Oh, there the light goes. Soft cedarwood. So for this one, this reminds me a lot of Kringle's Warm and Toasty. And it's that amber note specifically. This is kind of like that warm, perfumey sort of amber. Vanilla cashmere, I would say this is probably a little less, maybe a tiny bit less sweet than Kringle's Warm and Toasty, where it's a little more marshmallowy. This is a little more like vanilla versus marshmallow, but it's in that family for sure. And I say I'm probably not going to like this one because I'm not the biggest fan of Warm and Toasty for that amber note specifically. I tend to like things a little bit more woodsy in this sort of like genre, but if you like those cozy scents, this does definitely feel very warm. Kind of like that happiness is a warm blanket. I mean, they could have gone that direction with this scent as well, I feel like. A little bit of that cedarwood. I do really like the cedarwood note here. That is nice. So maybe burning this will do okay for me, but yeah, on cold, it's definitely reminding me of Kringle's Warm and Toasty for sure. But yeah, I kind of put caution to the wind with the notes on this one because I had to have this label. It is so cute. But that is Napping with Snoopy. One thing I want to point out before we go any further, guys, and I'm sorry because I should have said this before and I forgot, but because I'm not super well versed in Goose Creek and I'm just kind of really new to their scent catalog, I'm sure that there's probably something somewhere in here that's a repackage of something else that they have done in the past, or something in their like regular candle lineup that I'm just not aware of. So I apologize if I'm not pointing that out. I just don't know enough. I know there's some other channels here, folks that are a little bit more knowledgeable in Goose Creek. They've been buying them for longer that might be able to pick up on potential repackages, but I'm just not that person. Pretty much because all of these are new to me, that's how I'm kind of approaching this, as new to me scents. But if you are a longtime customer of Goose Creek, you might be able to pick up on some of that. So feel free to leave that information information in the comments. If some of these scent notes like click for you, that this could be something else, you know, feel free to leave that information. I'm just not equipped to provide it. So again, I should have said that from the start, but you know, getting back to these, because I feel like the notes for fall naps are kind of familiar to me just from browsing their website, but I'm not 100% sure, you know, if that is a repackage of something else. And, you know, there's a few others here as well that I feel like sound familiar, because even though I haven't bought, I've been on the website a lot. I've added to cart a lot of times, and I've kind of just, you know, held off on buying, but some of these do sound familiar. So just one thing I wanted to point out. But getting back to our candles here today, this is another one that I'm not entirely loving on cold. This is Crisp Fall Days. And again, we've got Snoopy in our doghouse here. Love that. But, you know, it's kind of redundant here, but again, same thing with the characters here. It's harder to see, I think, this one because it's yellow, but we've got little fall leaves on this gold overlay again with our happiness is. And this one, yellow wax, thicker wicks again. And this one, I mean, the scent notes don't sound bad to me. We have got rustling leaves, spiced apple cider, and cozy harvest spice. So kind of basic. It's one of those ones that even as I was adding it to my cart, I'm like, I probably don't need this. This sounds like, you know, pretty much every other spicy fall scent that I have. And I mean, it is. It's kind of like a spicy fall leaf candle. There's something about something in the spice note here that is just not hitting me very nicely on cold, but that very well can change. I'll give you an example of that. In my last video, I had said Autumn Road Trip was probably my least favorite on cold, and I shared a post because I lit it up over the weekend just to give it a try, and I actually ended up loving it when it was burning, so you never know. So I will still try this one out. I might not get to it this fall, but yeah, just kind of like a spicy leaf scent. And I don't know if it's something with the spiced cider or the harvest spice, like somewhere in some of that spice notes, something is not hitting me quite right. But yeah, it's not terrible. And, you know, it's just kind of a classic fall spicy scent. But that is Crisp Fall Days. And moving on here, this one. All right, so this one I'm really kind of on the fence about, because on one hand I do like it and I think I will like it better burning, but there's something about it on cold that I'm not totally loving. This is Christmas with Friends. This one here, we've got kind of a red. It almost looks orangey on the screen to me, but it's kind of like an orangey red, and it's got little snowflakes here in gold. And I'm going to try not to like zoom too close because I feel like it's really messing with my lighting here. But you know, you get the idea. It's the same thing, just a little bit different every time. I really love Snoopy though, up on top of the Christmas tree there. That is so, so cute. But this one, we've got like kind of a red wax here. And here we've got notes of fresh fir needles, bright orange zest, and warm clove. Now on paper, I thought this was going to be one of my top picks, and I do like it, but it is surprisingly sweet. This reminds me of some vendor wax that I've had, and I don't even know if it's worth mentioning because the vendor specifically is closed. It's a small business that closed over the last year. But this reminds me of a wax melt that I've had before. For the Caramel Sundays crowd out there, and I know there's a lot of you Caramel Sundays fans, this almost reminds me of a sweeter version of Home for Christmas. I had that one last year. That was a little bit, definitely a little less sweet and a little bit maybe more tree. This is very, very sweet to me, and I don't know where that sweetness is coming from, if it's the fir needles being like a little resinous and sappy, because I get a mild tree note here, but not a strong tree note. I get the clove. It is very like a warm clove, for sure. It's not like that astringent sort of clove, that harsh clove. This is almost like a mulling clove. And then the bright orange zest, I was expecting a little bit more brightness, and I really just get like a mild hint of orange versus like a bright orange zest that I was expecting. I was almost expecting something a little bit more in line with Bath & Body Works Winter or something like that. But like I get hints of that here, but it's just much sweeter. And again, I just don't know where that sweetness is coming from. So we'll see how this does burning. I'm definitely going to burn this because I have a feeling this one will probably change a little bit. But yeah, on cold, Christmas with friends, definitely a little different than I expected. Next, I grabbed Apple Picking, which another cute label here with Snoopy there on the ground. They're having fun at the apple orchard. I won't zoom all the way around, but again, you got kind of like an orange with gold leaves on there. And this one's got orange wax. I don't know if you can even really tell on camera, but there's kind of like a splotch there. It's almost like the dye wasn't blended in all the way. So I've never seen that happen, and hopefully it doesn't give me any burn issues, but just something I noticed. This, I actually quite like the scent, but it's more of a transitional scent for me. We've got notes of juicy apple, sparkling pear, and crisp green leaves. Which those notes also do sound familiar to me. I feel like I might have looked at something with an apple and a pear note and a leaf note, but this is like a very like early September, end of August type of candle for me. So I will probably save this for next year because I'm starting to get into like my heavier fall scents now, my pumpkins and things like that. This is very fresh and juicy. And again, not unpleasant. I don't dislike this. It's just not what I'm in the mood for right now. But I do get a nice juicy apple note here, very like, almost like the fresh bite of an apple where you get that juice. And then the pear here is interesting because I do get a hint of that pear. And I wouldn't say it has like a true effervescent quality, but it does kind of lean that direction a little bit where they say sparkling pear, like almost like that hint of leaning effervescent like, if that makes sense. Just kind of like a more of a like burst about it, I guess, if you will. And I don't really get anything like necessarily green about the leafiness here. I mean, it's really not even heavy on any sort of leafy note on cold. I get a lot of that fruit and it's just very bright, very juicy. And you know, if you like that sort of fall juicy scent, this is very like non-offensive, I feel like, very guest friendly type of fall scent. It's pretty sweet, but not cloying. It's probably like in that sort of, maybe like a Macintosh apple family. But I like it. I just think I'm probably going to save this for next fall season when I start doing my fall transition towards the end of August next year. But that's Apple Picking, and you know, I think a solid choice and a cute little concept. All right, so if you're wondering, we are halfway through. We've got 5 left. These are probably my 5 overall favorites just on Cold Sniff, so that very well could change, but these were the 5 that seemed to impress me the most, and it is both Halloween and a couple holiday scents. So I apologize that we're kind of bouncing around seasonally here. Can't help myself. I just kind of did it in order of where their impressions were on me. But this one, we're going back to Halloween here. We have got Halloween Night, and I love this label. So cute. I look at this and I just hear, I got a rock in my head. I don't know if you could look at that and not hear that. But this one's a little bit different with the overlay. We got like little gold stars here, which kind of match our nighttime theme as well as Lucy's little costume. But really cute. And this one, we've got a nice blue wax, really pretty blue. And for notes here, we've got Midnight Fog, Whipped Vanilla, Soft Patchouli, and Smoldering Amber. This one, I really like this. This is, it's almost a little bit similar to Halloween Party, one of the candles that I bought last time, but it's also a little different because like the patchouli here and that like that airiness reminds me a little of Halloween Party, but then we've also got like the soft and sweet side with the that vanilla and the amber. This feels less perfumey of an amber than the fall napping one. What is it? Naps with Snoopy? I forget what it's called. But this is like lighter on the amber, which I like because I don't want the amber to overwhelm this one. I really like the patchouli. The patchouli is like definitely similar to what was in Halloween Party. It's almost like that witch's brew sort of patchouli to me. But this is nice. This is like a softer, more tame take on a Halloween scent. Like if you don't like the dark and spooky stuff, that vanilla in here and that sweetness that it adds, that little bit of amber, kind of makes it more tamed version of Halloween. I like this one though. I'm looking forward to this. I will probably burn this year, at least try it out. But yeah, that's Halloween night and just absolutely precious. All right, we're jumping seasons again. Next, we've got decorating the tree. Oh, how cute. I love the green. We've got little snowflakes here, and you can kind of see the characters a little bit better with this darker green color, so I'll just show you in case you missed it before, but I like this one. I just love this label. I mean, Snoopy, when he's decorating his tree, that's just like one of those classic Peanuts moments. And then we've got the green wax here, very, very bright green wax. And the scent notes here for decorating the tree are balsam Christmas tree, worn cedar, forest juniper, and apple wreath. And this one, it's funny because this reminds me of a candle a little bit, and I don't necessarily like the candle that it reminds me of, but this smells better. This reminds me a little bit of Bath & Body Works Tree Farm, which I know a lot of people like, and maybe it's because we've got that tree with the woods and a little bit of apple that's making me think of Tree Farm. But Tree Farm, the tree note in that one takes on a little bit of a cleaner like tone. Like I just don't love the tree note in Tree Farm. This is a little bit different, and I really like this on cold. I'm looking forward to burning this one. I definitely get that balsam in here and the cedar for sure. The apple is more of like a hint. It's not like a heavy apple sort of note to it, but there is like that little bit of that apple like sweetness in the background. It just is it has a very sort of quintessential holiday feel, and I really like it. If this does well, this is something that I would probably repurchase just because I mean, I love the packaging, but this is a really nice holiday tree scent. I don't know. Let me know if you get this. Tell me, does it remind you of Tree Farm as well? Am I going crazy? Because it's just weird because I really don't like Tree Farm, but I feel like I love this one. So I don't know. That is decorating the tree, and maybe I'll review this one at some point. And again, I don't know if this is a repackage of anything else, but if it is, please let me know, because if that's the case and I can order it in different packaging to try and maybe save this one to collect, you know, I might be willing to do that as well. So, but yeah, I love this green. All right, we've got 2 Halloween scents, so we're jumping again, and then 1 holiday. The last 2 that I'm going to do here are probably like both toss-ups for my favorites. One is definitely probably my favorite of the holiday, and then one is my favorite of the fall. But this is like a close second. This is good too. This is a little bit classic here with the Great Pumpkin. I mean, Linus in the Pumpkin Patch. I mean, come on. Gotta have this one. Absolutely. This was a no-brainer. Again, we've got like the fall night stars here like we had on Halloween night. And orange here. This is orange wax. This one's very well blended. This one, I mean, you know it's going to be a pumpkin scent. We've got sweet pumpkin, fresh ginger, warm nutmeg, and spiced cardamom. And I mean, this is like your classic pumpkin spice. It's like your pumpkin pie spices. It's almost like if you were to take pumpkin pie filling, but without the crust, because I don't get like a bakery sort of crust note here. But the pumpkin and the spices itself is very reminiscent of a pumpkin pie filling. And I mean, I've got to imagine they've had this scent before because it's just so straightforward pumpkin spice. And I mean, I like the scent. It's not bad by any means. Is it reinventing the wheel or exciting? No, probably not. But I mean, I had to have it for this. So I get the cardamom. I do get a little bit of ginger, but it's not It's not super ginger heavy to me. I actually feel like I get a little bit more of the cardamom on cold with that sort of sweet orange pumpkin. It's, I don't know. It's not super custardy like a pumpkin pie, but it's just sort of in that family. And it's not like fresh pumpkin flesh either. It's like somewhere in the middle. But I like it. I mean, for a pumpkin spice scent, this is pretty good. So hopefully this burns well, but I'm almost like tempted because it's just such a like classic, iconic sort of packaging that, I don't know, it's going to be hard to actually burn this one. So I don't know, I might have to go grab like a couple backups of some of these, like the ones that are my favorites. This is dangerous. But yeah, we've got 2 more. So I guess we'll do the next, or the last Halloween. This is my top one of all the Halloween scents. And I made a guess just looking at the pictures and the notes which one was going to be my favorite, and absolutely I was right. My favorite of the Halloween ones, Happy Howl-O-Ween and Snoopy on the Jack-O-Lantern. I mean, does it get better than this? We've got the stars again here. Lovely green. I love green. Green's my favorite color. I feel like I've said that before here, but we've got a nice sort of green wax. I just love that they went green with this one because it's my favorite. And this one is another pumpkin scent, but it's a little bit different. This is spiced pumpkin, crushed clove, warm cinnamon, and rustic cedarwood. So like where the other one has the Great Pumpkin has more of a like sort of pumpkin pie like lean, like your traditional sweet pumpkin spice. This is a little bit more of like a rustic outdoor pumpkin lean. The pumpkin note is still fairly sweet, but it does have a spiciness about it as well. This one definitely is more spicy than the other one, even though the other one does have a good amount of spice. This is more of that like true spiciness. I get the clove, absolutely, and I am a big fan of clove. I do get the cinnamon. I wouldn't say it's not quite red hot cinnamon, but more like a cinnamon stick, and it's like a true cinnamon note and definitely present. And the thing here that I like, and maybe it's, I don't know if it's the way the cedarwood hits the other notes or if it's buried somewhere in that spiced pumpkin note, that vague spiced pumpkin note, but there's something in here that is almost a little like anise-like, or almost like a hint of a licorice note. That something in here is reminding me a little bit of like that tone that I get from the spiced pumpkin and Kringle's Halloween, which I love that candle. I wouldn't say there's like a true licorice note here, and I'm curious if anyone else is going to pick up on that as well. I will also note, like, initially when I smelled this on cold, it was very light. And as it sat in my home and I kind of like warm up the wax a little bit with my finger here, like it starts to kind of come alive a little bit more. So I'm really hoping this has a nice cold to warm transition, but there's almost a little something here that hints like into that anise spice sort of family to me. Maybe that'll be different for others, but I love it. I love a good rustic pumpkin scent. Maybe even better than bakery pumpkin. I love a good bakery pumpkin sort of candle, but I just like, I've been kind of in my year of rustic fall scents, if you will, like where I'm really just drawn to those types of things right now with clove and just a little bit more spiciness. But this is really good. I might have to just get another one of this just to keep, because I just love the packaging so much. I'm really tempted. Scentsy just came out with a warmer that looks just like this, and I'm really tempted to get it. But it's like, it's only 15 watts that I was looking at, and the style of it, I worry it's not going to have enough throw to justify the price tag. I think it was like, what, $85? Or it was steep. I worry it's not going to throw well enough to justify the price point, but like, I'm really tempted because this looks so cute and I just love this. But definitely my top scent of the fall, like Halloween ones in this collection. And we've got one more that's my top holiday scent. We've got Skating with Friends. Last but not least, I'm going to try not to go too close with this label because I'm sorry about the light. It is driving me crazy. And I think it's when I go too close that it goes dark on us. But we've got like the gold snowflakes there, which in person, it looks a lot, it's a lot nicer in person. It's hard to translate it on the screen, but like they're a really nice accent here. And we've got light blue wax. And this one here, this is cool peppermint, sweet vanilla, and crystallized sugar. And it's one of those things where it's almost like, how many peppermint candles do you need? Well, I need them all. I love peppermint. And this is my type of holiday peppermint. I really like this. This makes me happy. The peppermint here has that sort of candy cane quality. It's kind of similar to the way crushed candy cane from Bath and Body Works has that candy cane quality, but this is not nearly as intensely minty as that one is to me. Like when I open crushed candy cane, it's like that, like very cool peppermint, nose clearing peppermint. This is more mellowed out and kind of blended into that creamy vanilla that kind of takes the edge off that peppermint. And maybe it's that crystallized sugar note giving it that sort of candy cane quality, because it does have that like Christmassy candy cane sort of peppermint mixed with a creamy vanilla. And honestly, this reminds me a lot of the last Goose Creek candle that I burned in the paraffin line. It was, I think, called Peppermint Whip. It had a picture of like whipped cream with like little crushed candy cane pieces on top. And I really enjoyed that fragrance, but it was white wax and it got really dirty really fast. So it kind of like took some of the enjoyment out of it for me. But this smells similar from what I remember, and it's been years now though. But if it's kind of like in that same family, or I don't know, maybe it's got to be a repackage of something. I mean, I feel like they've had so many peppermint scents, and I've looked at a lot of them on the website and been tempted before. So this is probably something we've smelled before in some fashion, but either way, new to me, and I love it. And I'm really looking forward to burning this one. I might have to burn it when my daughter's not home. It's funny, she hates mint and I just absolutely love it. So, you know, maybe one of those days where she's pushing my buttons, I'll light this one up. And it's funny, I thought she'd be like excited when I showed her. I'm like, look, I bought all the Peanuts candles. And she kind of gave me one of those, oh mom, I'm too old for that sort of looks. But you could tell like she looked back afterwards, like, you know, that little bit of an old friend, like she didn't want to admit like she still loves her Snoopy, but she does. But yeah, I mean, this collection, guys, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few that are a little bit questionable for me, but you know, that's going to be the case. It's 10 candles. You can't love them all, but there's nothing I hate here. I will try them all at some point, whether it's this year or next year. But I really feel like there's at least something, everyone can find something they like. So if you're a Peanuts fan and you just want to find something you gravitate to, there is a little variety here. We do have a lot of fall and a lot of holiday, but we do have that one oddball here with Snoopy and the Gang, which is kind of like that fruity floral sort of thing going on. But you know, overall, I'm really happy with these, and I'm really happy with the packaging. Sometimes like these wrap labels can go awry, and I know like a couple of my Halloween ones, like they're not quite as nicely on there as these ones are. These feel a little bit more polished. They're all straight. They, you know, they're not bubbling up or anything like that. So, you know, quality wise, I feel like it's pretty good. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Again, this was all cold sniff, so those are my favorites, you know, kind of as they lie in cold sniff, but I'm sure some things might change, and I will keep you guys posted if they do. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope that kind of satisfied some of your curiosity if you have your eye on some of them, and what you might be able to expect if you are to pick them up. But I don't know, I might have to go back in for a couple just to have a backup or two. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if I can behave this time. Hopefully, as I'm filming this, they're not dropping some other secret collection that I'll have to have. But that's the way it goes, I guess, sometimes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know that was a long video, so thanks for hanging with me. If you've hung through this whole video, thank you for that. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see more of my content in the future. And hopefully I will review a couple of these. Not all of them, definitely not all of them, but hopefully a couple I will be able to kind of come back and share some post-burn thoughts with you guys. But again, me and Snoopy here, we thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend or whatever it is that you're watching this video. And come back. I've got some reviews coming up, hopefully next week. Some Kringle reviews and maybe some other things. So thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.